It's just a groovy morning. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon in some places. Good tea time in others. Beverly, is it tea time already? See? Do I know my audience? Yes, I do.
It's a good night.
It's Tuesday. It's the 11th of October, a day after Indigenous Peoples Day here in the United States of Americans. And back in the day, it used to be called Columbus Day. And although Columbus has been discovered to be kind of a dick, I will say that he is responsible for the creation of Tai Chi as we know it. And so I gave a little, you guys have heard that story before, haven't you?
No.
Yes, Beverly has. So I won't tell it this morning, but someday if you come to another one of my more longer relaxed sessions, I will tell you that story. In the meantime, I just want to say it's a Good Morning Tuesday Morning Flow Show, which, so we do have chat going on over there because we're live streaming directly to Facebook and YouTube. But this is the one thing I didn't check in my pre-show checklist this morning to make sure that the chat was logged in, and it's not. And I'm not going to do it because it takes 15 minutes and I have to find out where all of the traffic lights are to sign into that. And I'm not going to do that because that's a pain in the butt. But I will say, if you're watching over there on Facebook and YouTube, welcome this morning. It's good to see you. Please come and join us here in just a moment, because in just a moment we're going to get up and do some dancing. I don't have the ginger cam going, but she's right here. Trust me, she may get up and join us here in a second when we start doing that. And if you are watching over there on the live streams, Facebook and YouTube, I just want to say, I don't know if this will just show up as, yeah, it's not showing up, but there's a whole lot of wonderful, beautiful, extraordinary people here in the Zoom room, and you could join in the Zoom room if you want to be one of the cool kids. And after we get back from dancing, I'll tell you how to do that. How's that sound? And then,
Kid.
yeah, you can't see their faces, but they're all going, yeah, okay, whatever. Can we get going here? So that's, I think, might as well just do it. Stand up, push the coffee table out of the way. Rick, make sure there's nothing breakable around you. And yeah, that last time, your insurance won't cover Tai Chi. It doesn't do that. Here we go. And one more thing. There we go. I think you can just almost see the top of her shoulder at the bottom of the screen there. Well, as always, especially if you haven't been doing this with me very long, I have a reminder I give everybody right at the beginning, and that is that you do not have to know anything. You do not have to learn anything. You do not have to figure anything out. And for goodness sake, you don't have to do everything that I do. If I go off this way and you go off this way, I don't care. Because who cares? I don't care. Ginger doesn't care. But I'm going to start like this, opening up the heart, opening up the breath, and opening up and emptying out the mind, and then just floating my wings. Breathe in, breathe out. This time, the floating wings round out into the front, like a big hug, and then drift all the way down. Yes. Gathering and sinking the chi. The other day in class, somebody remarked that when they first heard me say this, they thought it was S-Y-N-C-H, sinking. But it's, oh, hold on a second. There's nobody there on that one. There's always something, right? Where were we? Oh yes, sinking, as in dropping the anchor. Sinking down. One more time. And now one foot steps out to the side, and no, I do not care which foot it is, and then in front, everything floats up. For those of you who don't know, I live in Washington State now. We moved from California. You go to the beach in California, and some places in Northern California, you can still find flotsam and jetsam on the beach. But mostly they're bare. But here in Washington, there's still big pieces of driftwood on the beaches. And you know how they got there? They did this, bobbing up and down on the waves of the sea, floating up over the wave and then down into the trough, just with the rhythm of the ocean. Yeah, just like that. Floating back up, back to the big hug, because you can never get too many of those. Inhale and open, and then scooping one hand under to catch the big round Japanese fishing float. Right there. Also found its way all the way to the western shores from far, far away. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. Lovely. And then the fingertips drift back together. Hands flatten and float down. And sink the chi. Yeah. You first have to gather big handfuls of fluffy chi, and then it sinks all the way down. Beautiful. Hands float up in front. There's another big hug. Inhale and open. And then scoop this one under until it runs into your fingertips and back again. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. I am sort of drifting side to side as I do this. Nice. I'm going to drift that all the way back to the open hug, and then let this one run into my fingertips on the other hand. Big open hug right here. And one foot's gonna come out and just tap the ground. And the other foot's gonna come out and tap the ground. And it's all because of that swaying. Nice. Let this one float down until it runs into your fingertips, then open, 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 and one foot taps the ground. The other hand runs into your fingertips. Open, open, open. All together, the white crane spreads his wings, flies over the beach to see all the driftwood, glass fishing balls, messages in bottles. Breathe in, breathe out. Last one. And then back to the center with a big hug. Breathe in and open. And back to the beginning, sinking the chi. Beautiful. Hands float up in front, big hug, inhale and open, and then everything sweeps over to one side. And then down into the trough, just bobbing on the waves. Yes. How deep is the trough, David-Dorian? I don't know, and I don't care. This hand dipping into the water. This hand splashing in. Both hands swimming. All right, now not yet, but on the next one, right out onto the side. And then this hand, push, 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 rewind, 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 rewind. Push, 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 push. Breathe in. Breathe out. Nice. Now stay with me. Just sitting back and just sliding this hand over the top. Over the top like a rainbow, and then down into the trough. Over the wave. You guys are doing fantastic. All together now. Ready for this? On the next one, stepping right out there. And this hand, push, 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 and then drop, drop, drop as the other one comes over here. That's just so dramatic. And drop, and circle, but that's kind of all it is stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Sit on back, slide across the room, up and over the top. All together, all of the pieces, one time. Stepping right out there. Stop, drop, roll on over. Call this brushing the knee. You finish in a twisted step. If you're keeping track, that is. One more time. That's the name. Stay with me, sitting on back, right to the middle, and step in with a big hug. Inhale and open, sinking the chi. Hands float up in front. Big round hug, inhale and open. Guess what we're gonna do? Drop until it runs into your fingertips. Open, open, open. The white crane sees something fantastic down on the surface of the ocean, and he dives down, 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 and then inhales, comes back up. Over the top he goes. One time, everything goes together. Right out to the side. Brush the knee. Stay with me. Sit on back. Just to the middle, inhale and open. And then this hand goes, I couldn't remember which hand we were doing last. The crane spreads his wings and dives into the ocean. Breathe in, over the top it goes. Sit on back, right to the middle. It all starts with a hug. Down to the bottom of the sea. Breathe in. Now stay with me, because when one side gets weightless, the rooster, that's fancy. Over the top it goes. One time all together. Sit on back, just to the middle. It all starts with a big hug. The crane dives down. Breathe in, one rooster. And then a big hug right there. We're out of music. That means we're out of moves. But that wasn't a bad way to spend the morning. One last time, sinking the chi. And this foot returns. Oh, that was awesome. Come on back in, have a seat. Da, 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 da. Well, you guys look fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I wish I could show you. How come my my thing isn't portraying? Let's see if I can make that happen. Nope, it's not happening.
Are you pushing buttons again?
I am pushing buttons. It doesn't seem to be doing anything, however, so I'll stop.
Good thing, good thing.
I was just remarking, so we've got a nice group of people here in the Zoom room this morning. I'm sure we have a nice group of people over there on Facebook and YouTube. I just can't see them. Let me see if I can do one little thing here that might reveal them to me. Yes. No. No, that's not. No.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. Well, I'll just focus on you guys. How about that? Anyway, lovely flow this morning. Lovely, lovely. And I only have a couple of minutes left, so I want to jump right into our positive thought for the day. So today, in addition to it being all kinds of lovely days, it's National Pride Day today, a day to embrace gender diversity, to embrace that love is love. I mean, I could just stop there. Just that's all that needs to be said. And part of that message is that the reason why we do all of this stuff, all of this Tai Chi, all this moving meditation stuff and whatever, is that when you get into the flow state, understandings of things like love is no longer a philosophy. It's no longer a belief. It's no longer something that is a position that you advocate. It's actually just like there's nothing else. Like there is no other emotion. There's no hatred or racism or belittling, or it's just like, oh, so let me get this straight. The idea that there are people there and over there and everything is kind of an illusion, and we're all connected and we're all actually basically the same identity. So loving everybody else is just loving myself, and hating somebody else is just hating boy, that just stops making sense altogether. So all there is love is love. End of story. Anyway, but that's not my positive thought for the day at all. That was just a commentary. My thought for the day is that it's also Face Your Biggest Fear Day.
I am.
Hey, stop that. I have to do the same thing. When I get up in the morning and look in the mirror, I have to face my biggest fear right there. All kidding aside, so one of the things that we do in Tai Chi Fit that we teach to our instructors as they're going through our training, and that whether you know it or not is sort of deep in the background of every dance that we do, is something called the hero's journey. So on the way to this whole realization that love is love, and the identity with everybody and everything in the universe, you're on a journey. You're on a sort of a voyage to get to that point. And this is the oldest story in civilization. We've been telling the story since they were putting handprints on the walls of caves in France. That we all go on this hero's journey, and we tell the stories about it because it's so familiar that everybody knows every part. First, there's this like, hey, come on, let's go on a journey, and then there's one by one little lessons, and the lessons in the hero's journey stories, each one pisses the hero off more and more and more. It's like, really? Another one? It's harder. And this one, like I get closer and closer to death every time there's another story. And yes, of course, there's a lesson. Wow. And so that's the story. But then you get to this point where all of those adventures and those lessons and finding a teacher and all that kind of stuff finally comes to a head. It has a point, because you now face your biggest fear. It's like that was the whole point of the journey. Before you get into nirvana, you have to face these horribly ugly and scary two guards. Sometimes you see these statues at the face of Japanese temples where there's a couple of guys, there's one guy like this, and there's another guy holding a club, and they're ferocious, and they're meant to scare you to death, because before you can pass through the gates of the temple and enter nirvana, you have to face your biggest fear. And very often we bow out. Like, this is the tragedy of the modern age, is that we live in a world that tells us it's smarter not to face our biggest fears. It's smarter to distract ourselves. It's smarter to consume or to distract or dissociate, right? Don't do all that wacky spiritual stuff. Be Netflix and chill. That's the better route there. But by not facing your biggest fears, you'll never get past the gates of the temple and enter this wonderful, you'll never meet yourself. That's what's on the other side of the temple, is you, is the authentic you. And the reason why we never, or we tend in the modern age not to face our biggest fears is because the world tells us you might not make it. You might not actually survive. In fact, you probably won't. There's a reason why you're scared, and the reason is that you're not good enough or big enough or strong enough or enough to make it, so it's better to stay safe. So here's the thing, and by the way, once again, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. I have no special wisdom. I have no special insight. I'm just the guy to give you the permission slip to do what you already know to do. You are enough. You are strong enough. You are smart enough. You are good enough. And your survival in facing your biggest fear is guaranteed. It is written from your birth that this is your destiny to do it. It is in the facing of the fear that you win the battle. The only loss of the battle is when you don't face your fear. Now, the fears come in sometimes in sneaky ways, like saying no to mom. That's sometimes the biggest fear, right? It's like, no, you can't come over and rearrange my house. No, it's not okay for you to question my children's gender identity. Right? It's not okay to say no to somebody. That's the biggest fear. And yet you will survive that. You will be victorious in that. It's just the facing of the fear. So sometime today, something like that may come up. It may come up because of something that you set in motion, or it may just come up unexpectedly. But when it does come up, I'm giving you the permission slip to face that fear, because your success is already guaranteed. Anyway, that's my thought for the day, my invitation to you. And I thank you, as I always do, for letting me share that with you. Appreciate you. And we're right on time. It's like a miracle. See, that's what happens. Well, hey, Rob, my friend Rob's here. How's it going, brother? I haven't seen you in forever.
I try and jump in every once in a while.
I love that. It's one of the things that happens. Like when you go to a restaurant, forever, it's one of those good restaurants, and you become a regular, and they get to know you, and you get to know the owners. They name a sandwich after you. Right? That's never happened to me, but I've heard that it happens to famous people. Anyway, here at Tai Chi Fit, we name movements after people who come. So Rob's got his own movement. This is Release the Butterfly, the name for Rob. Yes. So that's another reason why you should show up for the morning flow shows. You'll get a movement named after you.
There you go.
Anyway, Rob, it's great to see you. Hey, listen, letting everybody go for morning tea, and I will see you guys. Some of you guys I will see this evening for 300 class, and the rest of you I'll see later. Have a wonderful day. I love you so much. Peace.